Hello, and welcome back to session 85 of our Pathfinder 2nd Edition campaign. How's everyone doing?
Very good, thank you.
Doing good.
Good, good. Right, well, we'll just get straight into it then. And I've just just closed my notes. Hang on, just a second. I was like, I'm just gonna clean up my task bar, whatever it's called, toolbar.
Nice.
Yeah, and then I closed the wrong thing. All right, so if everyone's ready to go, you've got drinks and everything else you might need.
Actually, no, but I will do that now because I can do that.
Okay, well, last we left off, we last left our heroes in the Forge of Kazenki, an ancient mine transformed into a jail for a jailer and his prisoner. Having manned the Shadesteel chains, forging and reforging them for 1,000 years, Kazenki has dutifully carried out his duty, as ordered by his liege lords in Clan Eorlix. He spent day after day, year after year, century after century, alone, willing to serve his masters until the end of time. Until today, when the two heirs of Clan Eorlix, Phalar and Hagen, accompanied by our heroes, arrived unexpectedly. Having helped fight off the elementals summoned by Hagen's hand, as the young lord touched one of the Shadesteel chains and broke it, Kazenki's demeanor suddenly changes, and he begins to act in a suspicious manner. The gems in his body and neck, which snake up from his chest, over his shoulder, and around to the back of his head, begin to flash and change from the deep purple it was before to a brilliant green. So, whereas I might have hesitated to ask before, Kazenki says, I now have everything I need to confirm what I long suspected. He reaches out in a flash and grabs Hagen's wrist. And you see Hagen sort of almost be pulled forward a little bit and cry out in pain as the burns he suffered in the fight kind of rub against the cloth of his overshirt. And Kazenki pulls up his sleeve, revealing a white tattoo, which begins to appear halfway up his arm, blazing if it was freshly branded. It's a tattoo of like a thorned rose.
Is this tattoo new? Like it's just appeared, or was it there before?
It seems to be glowing with an arcane power. It might have been a brand before, but like maybe Kazenki is kind of like outlining it with magic. He says, "I knew it. A member of the Brass Order." You see Phalar sort of turn to him and say, "Hagen, what is that, Hagen?" Hagen pulls his arm away and rolls back down his sleeves.
I'm sorry. We're kind of out of the loop. Who are they?
Kazenki looks down at Hagen and says, he's not denying anything. Even in my time, the Brass Order were no allies of the Gloom. Phalar looks down at him and tears start to well in her eyes. The Brass Order? You're working for Vesh? For Narsamel? You see Hagen's head snap up and his voice cuts through the echo of the chamber. Not for them, he says. Against them, always. He kind of looks up at all of you.
I mean, you seemed pretty fond of that book you had.
What? So you're saying you're in the Brass Order, but as like an inside man, or what?
He seems a bit nervous with you all kind of looming over him, and he pauses for a moment, and then I guess with a kind of reasoned sigh, he speaks. Fine, you want the truth of the Brass Order, and you'll have it. But what I'm about to tell you might get us all killed.
We hear that every 2 weeks. It's fine.
He turns to Phalar and then looks back at all of you and says, the Brass Order isn't just a not so secret society of spies. We are a shadow within the shadows, a rebellion hiding in plain sight. We live here under Narsamel's rule, in his realm, and since he's arrived, and ever since he's arrived, he's seen us as his loyal servants. That's exactly what we wanted him to believe. In truth, everything we do, every artifact we collect, every lie we tell, every secret we bury, is in preparation for the day we bring him down. The Order has seen what Narsamel truly is. He's no benevolent ruler. He's a parasite, feeding on the despair and darkness of the gloom, growing stronger with every soul lost to his domain. It's his power which the artifacts we safeguard, things of terrible ancient power, are tools that he craves to tighten his grip on this realm and expand his reach beyond it. If even one fell into his hands, the gloom wouldn't just remain a prison for those who live here. It would become a cancer, spreading into every corner of existence. But you mentioned Vesh. The Brass Order knows of the far older and deeper threat, one so ancient and powerful that even Narsamel himself fears him. Vesh, the Exiled. You've seen the book I carry, the one I've guarded. It's not just some grimoire of forgotten magic. It's a map, a guide, a cursed instruction manual, written by those who wish to serve Vesh, and it's meant to awaken him. And yes, before you ask, I've been pretending to work with Narsamel.
Oh,
think-
for goodness sake.
He thinks I'm spying on you, all of you, and I intend to keep it that way. In truth, I have been spying, just giving him everything and enough to keep just to keep him away. I'm the only reason he hasn't come and attacked the camp so far.
I knew you were up to something. I did say it.
So those globs of fleshy shit that got sent flying at us like a cannon. Was that you?
Yeah, Hagen, was that you? Phalar says. He nods. And he says, Narsamel knew that this meeting was going to happen anyway. But I convinced him that if he sent a few of them packing, he'd be able to follow them. I might be able to even convince them to help me go to Vesh. But talking about Vesh, the Brass Order gave me this mission. I'm not trying to awaken Vesh to serve him. I'm trying to awaken him so he can be killed permanently. The Order believes this is our only chance.
Sort of let them both fight each other and kill each other kind of deal, or...
No. As Vesh currently stands, in the prison he's in, and as he remains dormant, his power continues to seep through the gloom, feeding Narsamel's power. He has a machine that gains power from Vesh's unconscious mind. He feels now that he has stuffed in return Vesh's mind with enough that if he was to awaken him, Vesh would be under his control. But that being said, whilst Vesh is unconscious, Narsamel still is powered by him. Narsamel still cannot be killed, not in the same sense that any of us can. But if he wakes under Narsamel's control, the gloom will become a hellscape that no one can escape.
I don't like this. It's a very dangerous plan. I've seen the effects of what Shards of Vesh can do, and that's without his direct involvement. Waking him up could cause further problems.
Take it this one's the real deal too. Not this, not just our little lichy mate playing pranks on people.
In a sense, Narsamel's power is from Vesh, which is why so many people have, I guess, come to be convinced by that. But if Vesh, if Vesh is left in his prison, no one can get to him, and Vesh cannot be killed. And if we open the prison, there's a chance he can be awoken. But we will have to kill him.
I'm sorry, I have one question. Before, a few days ago, I mentioned to you that at least our understanding that it is not Vesh in the prison, or Vesh that helped Narsimel, but it was Naruzatar. Is this not the case?
Indeed, Naruzatar is helping. Or I assume the person called Naruzatar. There is a lich or some powerful magician that speaks to Narsimel in his chambers. The Brass Order knows that Narsimel isn't doing this alone.
Please, can I do a sense motive or something on this guy to see if he's being legit?
Yeah, go ahead, make it a
Oh,
perception check.
Is that perception?
Yeah, perception. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. 24.
24. He seems to be telling the truth now. Like he's telling you because Phalar is upset. He's been caught out. He says to Kazenki. Well, no, sorry. Kazenki says only the Brass Order would have the magic required to break these chains. I figure that it's all part of their brand. Literally.
Yeah.
I was suspicious when he broke the chain with a touch.
What does breaking these chains have to do with your goal here?
So he says, I have been trapped here for 1,000 years. I've had plenty of time to think. Understand why it was me who was sent down here.
Sorry, not you. Other guy, Valar?
Oh, Hagen.
Not Hagen. Sorry, Hagen.
What are you specifically asking him?
It's like, why would he want to break the chains?
Oh,
why would
yeah, he says. Sorry, he says. I didn't know I would break the chains. That was an innocent mistake.
So that stuff given to you, like, who gave you those tattoos? Was it the Order? Was it Narsimel?
It was the Brass Order. And it is the same power, I assume, that they entrusted me into using against Vesh when I come face to face with him.
And are you sure you're not being hurt right now?
Being what?
Listen to.
No. Remember, we gave you those amulets. It is true, Narsimel cannot hear you through those. That's why I've been spying on you for him.
I see.
So, the Brass Order gave you those tattoos. The Brass Order who wants Vash free, so that he can be destroyed.
Yes.
And when you touched one of the chains with this tattoo that the Brass Order gave you, it broke. Are we certain he's not under here?
No,
Something related to that is not under here.
No, the Vesh's prison is far north of Novorlis, in the mountains. This is... I don't know what's here. Zenki doesn't seem to know either.
Savesh's prison is a physical place.
I assume so. I've only been following the book.
Damn.
And
Scratch that idea off then.
And I don't know why it reacted so strongly with the chains.
Maybe are these used there too?
Kazenki says, well, to add her a blacksmith's knowledge to the mix, the Brass Order, I strongly suspected, were the organization that made this place originally. They have been around since the very first people crossed over into the gloom. And it would make sense that if they came across this place, they found a way of making shade steel. There seems to be some evidence for that. It's not necessarily something Fandaren made. I'm not sure, though.
So it's
But
more that it react. Sorry, you go.
oh, go on.
So it's more that it reacts strongly with shade steel itself, as opposed to these chains specifically.
Indeed.
Okay.
And whatever chains bind Vesh in his prison will be the same, I suspect.
We all get those tattoos. There's lots of shade wielders up there. Well, down there. Whichever way. It could be very handy.
Hagen says, this specific binding was put on me for this mission. They have the power to do it, but it took 10 powerful seers to do such a thing. And it left them bedridden for weeks afterwards.
Well,
I did not know what it was for, but they said when the time came to sort Vesh out, then I will do it. I will know how to use it. Phalar says, why didn't you tell me, Hagen? You see Hagen sort of turn to her and his voice softens. I didn't tell you, Phalar, because I thought I could protect you from this. That I could shoulder this burden alone. But now, the chain, these elementals, Kazenki, everything's gone wrong. He wasn't supposed to see the mark, and neither were you. And the pieces are falling apart faster than I can hold them together.
Speaking of these chains, our little friend's still down there, right?
Kazenki says, I think for now, it doesn't seem to be much stress, but this is something I wanted to mention. If you want my assistance, we need to find some way of making this prison permanent without my overseeing. These chains do break occasionally on their own. And whatever is being kept down here, whatever the Clan Eorlix elders saw down here and sent me down to help bind forever, we're going to have to find a way of dealing with this.
Can I just have a little look over the edge and see if I can see anything?
It's just lava. Like you
Any
can see
noises?
there doesn't see. It seems to be quite stable now. Like when the elementals were fighting, it was rough and like there was bubbles coming out of it and stuff. But you can't see anything. There's not like a dark shadow under there or anything.
Might if
The
I
chains, if anything, seem to go quite deep down before they potentially would, you know.
What would you need? To make it permanent.
I could. The only thing I can think of for the long term would be to create some sort of construct. And the only place I know about there is Kulakan's vault.
who's Kulakan?
Kulakan was my master. My when I was an apprentice, he was the Clan Eorlix chief engineer, blacksmith, that sort of thing. He died and left behind a vault of his riches and wealth, and I was the inheritor to it. But I was sent down here much before I could see much use out of it.
I see, but I suppose I'm not being crude at all, but what is there to stop us just leaving you here? I mean, you would stay, no?
Indeed, I am still oath-bound to this place. I have a responsibility over it.
I mean,
And
this,
what
this
if we did manage to solve this problem, what would you do when you leave?
I don't know. You have come to me, hoping for my assistance, I assume.
let's say we're able to get this construct and he can take over. Well, it can take over for you. That still doesn't gain us use of this forge, does it?
This forge is available. The Shadesteel production is available. Whether the being that is ultimately trapped here is trapped or not, I suspect that it would still be useful. There's still an anvil.
Are we not ignoring a major problem about using Shadesteel at the moment? Considering a certain someone is after Shade Bearers?
Sounds like a good way to lure him in.
During
Right.
a civil war?
I mean, if we can deal with him while we're here, maybe he ain't coming back.
I think we're going to have to deal with him regardless, no? It is perhaps the best chance we have to go to that tree and
Stick him on it, maybe.
Or he decimates our army.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe he's like a demon. You gotta go kill him in wherever they come from.
Yeah.
Oh, you did kill him before, didn't you? And he just reappeared again.
Yeah, but that was back on the material plane.
Right. Maybe he can only be killed here, or
Well,
near his
what I'm
lair or
thinking.
something.
If it's Tybalt, right? Yeah?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Tybalt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, he was born on the material plane. Because he's Gaius' son. Surely.
Hmm.
Right?
Maybe all of the gloom rituals and bullshit that was done to him made him more attuned to here than his own home.
Can I do a roll to see if I, like, because I have genealogy law, maybe that would count as specific law, for, to see if I can remember his birth being announced?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. My society is actually higher.
Hey.
38.
Yeah, you don't. You definitely like you had met him before. Like he was a son of Tarron-Ar. Like it was very well announced when he was born. I think he's probably a bit older than you, so you weren't around when he was born. But like, there's no reason to suspect he wasn't born in Adana. But you do remember that there was like stuff that came out with the banking guild having done experiments on him, and that they had found this sword in the gloom.
Yeah.
And it was after he sort of gained access to that sword, he then like escaped from them and started just going nuts on all the shade wielders. So yeah, if any link he has with the gloom, it's probably through that sword.
Okay.
Whether it's the sword that needs to be destroyed or it needs to be destroyed in the gloom, or like.
Does the sword need to be destroyed here? In the fires that it was forged in?
Well, that's yeah. I mean, that's a theory. Like, if you
Yeah.
destroy the magic sword, the power from that sword will go away as well. So he probably won't have the power he does.
Just look at Hagen. Sounds like your arm might have another use to it.
Wrong enough.
I don't know who you're talking about. He says.
You'll find out.
Kazenki says, "Well, unfortunately, that's my price. If you want me out of this blooming place, or you want me less busy, you got to find
This-
someone to replace me."
This
Or-
glooming place.
Or we deal with what's down there.
I don't think we can die through the lava.
You just reel it out with the chains, just pull the chains up.
Yeah, I don't know if that will cause the lava to overflow, though.
I mean, if anything, the lava will go down, right?
I don't know how physics works.
Yeah, clearly.
I'm just a humble fox guy.
Foxes don't learn physics.
Foxes don't learn physics. We learn shape shifting.
Yeah, lava physics.
Yeah.
Phalar says, "So, Kazenki, you've never once laid eyes on this thing," and he says, "When I came here, the preliminary bindings had already been made by the Halcyon Magisters."
How do you know it's still there?
It was part of my oath to never let it up. I just the chains broke, so I assumed it kept breaking. There's no reason to not believe that, right?
I mean,
What?
the chains are in lava, right?
Go on, let's bring it up and have a look.
What if it's actually like really nice?
Yeah, what if
You-
it's just a
you
chill guy?
misunderstood the whole thing.
If you want to make a persuasion check. One of you.
I
Someone.
would like to.
Yeah, does anyone want to aid?
Yeah, I'll do
I'll
it's
aid.
diplomacy, right?
Sorry?
Diplomacy, right?
Diplomacy, yeah.
I also have the thing which is unreasonable requests, so it goes down. The DC goes down 2 if I make something an unreasonable request.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, I just clicked that on Hanera's sheet, not mine. It'll be -7 from that, so 38. So presumably crit success on the aid +2.
Yeah, that's a.
Maybe before we bring it up, we should all heal up a bit first.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're not saying about doing this right now.
Right. Okay.
I mean, we're pretty fucked. I mean, I need to at the very least get changed. I mean,
He says that, well, if you are prepared to potentially have to rebanish it,
Oh, I can actually do that. Hold on. Let me just check. Oh no, I got rid of banishment because I never used it. Did I? No, I didn't. It's level 5 in Pathfinder. Yeah, sick. We can do that.
he says, well, after 1,000 years, I have a sick desire that there isn't anything there.
There's nothing there.
Right. I think
if shit
game
goes,
plan
It's just a.
is
It's
that.
just a. It's just a. No, it's fine.
The game plan is that we act like saviors for like, oh yeah, we've rescued you from your chain prison. Be our friend and join our team. That's the game plan, guys. Don't immediately fight it.
What if we go? I must go find my master, Vesh or something.
We'll be like, no, 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 he's dead.
Or it just like pulls out a phone and says, hey, Narsimel, you can pick me up.
I need a lift.
We'll be like, no, 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 no. Don't. Or we'll put you back in the hole.
Mate, we do have to think about the scenario in which this thing is actually like cooperative and maybe after 1,000 years or 10,000, however long it's been down there,
Yeah.
it's actually like, you know what, I thought about what I did and, you know, I was
Yeah,
wrong.
I'm rehabilitated.
Yeah, I'm ready to reintegrate into society, and as part of doing my bit, I'm going to help you take down this Narsimel guy.
And we do
I mean-
also have to think of the possibility that the blacksmith guy was actually put here to in as a way of imprisoning him, and that he was actually not looking after anything because he's a bad guy.
Just busy
I
work.
look at him.
I mean,
He looks sheepish.
we did have. We were worried that awakening the dragon would cause problems, and he's a good guy. You know,
True.
it could just be another dragon who's chill.
Yeah, it could just be a misunderstanding.
Kazenki,
Exactly.
if we pull this guy up and he turns out to be a dick, but one that is beyond us handling, can we put him back? Like, is there a way to is there a way to stick him back down there if shit is going south quick?
If you can get him back in the hole and put the chains on him, I guess.
Sounds very complicated.
I'm not entirely sure.
I was kind of hoping these chains would stay on him.
I imagine like because you're like raising him up, so we'll see him and then we could just like presumably just like let the chain slack again so he goes back down, right? I don't understand why that wouldn't just
Take pot shots as he sticks out the lava and then Just keep
I
rinse
just
and repeat.
yeah, like I don't like that's how it works, right? I'm not, you know,
Oh,
you
don't
can just
hurt him.
fill it up a bit.
It could be another one of the guardian spirits. Maybe stabbed with another shard of Vesh.
Maybe we could, yeah.
I'm not sure about that, Nick says. The timeline doesn't quite work out for that.
How does Van Daren fit in with your lot, Nix? Really, can you refresh my memory?
Fandaren sent us here as punishment for standing against the gods.
Right, and Van Daren put this guy in here as well, right?
Well, Kazenki says, well, I mean, I heard that they were mining this place, they found this, and then they accidentally released whatever was down here, and they managed to rebind it, but they needed someone to maintain the forge. So,
Oh, who was it that said that Van Daren put him here? Am I imagining that?
well, I suspected, I was told originally that it was Fandaren that must have put whatever it was here, but doing my inspections of the various areas around and the caves around this place that I can reach from in here, I have over time discovered evidence that the Brass Order were once stationed here as well.
So, just some people then. And if some people are strong enough to chain this thing up and stick it down there, then maybe, and just like gesturing to everyone in the room, maybe some people are enough to deal with it.
I will be honest, I am like a wet paper towel fighting this thing. It will not be good for me. It is like flying food at it.
Right.
They haven't just Nyx is no, not overtly. They don't know who Nyx is.
Right, okay. It's just because Nick was talking about us being left here, so I thought like it was brought up before or something.
Oh yeah, I guess she just said that, like, away from them.
Right, okay.
All right. Well, if you want to make a plan about releasing these chains, you can do. Depends if you want to take a break. If I could take a rest first.
Oh yeah,
We could
sure.
do it tomorrow.
I imagine planning would happen while we are resting.
Yeah. Well, Kazenki gets up and says, "Well, thank you for all your help today, but I still have to get to work, and the work never ends." So.
Yeah. Sorry for distracting you so much.
When you know what you want to do, come let me know.
Just goes back to his idle animation loop.
Yeah, Phalar and Hagen sort of get up and brush themselves down, and Phalar gives Hagen a big hug and says, "Don't lie to me again, or I'll kill you." And Hagen goes, "Okay."
Yeah. That's about right.
Any more questions, or do you want to go back out of the forge, or what?
I think out of the
What's
forge.
the meaning of life?
Could we not, instead of getting a construct from this place that he mentioned, could we not just get one of Zax's? Sorry, not Zax's. Larandans.
That's quite a trek.
Yeah, a bit far away.
Yeah, long-term project.
We would have to go all the way back to Adana, ask for him to lease us one, bring it all the way back here.
I also get the impression that this specific construct is like basically an apprentice of his master's, so it's not like just, oh, any old construct will do, otherwise just any old guy or gal would do, you know?
Okay,
I wonder if he's like that weird other guy that Morna likes. You know, the one she's been lugging around with her.
What, the one she's got a poster of in a cozy cabin?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Nick says, yeah, I mean, what is with that lump of wood? Hagen turns to you all as you're sort of making your way out of the forge and says, what I've told you here today, please don't tell anyone. The more people who know about this, the more likely my mission is going to be found out by Narsimel. And it's not just the Brass Order who's in danger, it's all of us.
Yeah, for all we know, there's other Narsimel spies in the camp.
When would be a safe time if we did want to talk to you to find an opportunity without the risk of, problems?
Just whenever we're away from other people.
Okay.
But as long as we have these amulets on, no one's going to be able to spy on us or scry on us. We'll have privacy.
Okay.
All right, so you make your way back up to the exterior, like where the camp is based. Are you going to just like climb back over the wall again?
Mhm.
All right, so climbing back, you see the camp starting to settle down, I guess, after a long day of work. A lot of progress has been made already, and some sort of preliminary kind of scaffolding-like structures to repair the exterior damage on some of the floating skyships have been constructed. You see a number of orcs and gnomes sort of hammering away with whatever they can muster from their supplies to sort of just repair like loose hull boards, just patching, bits of damage over, as well as working on the engines from the outside. Some people obviously like rappelling down halfway down on a rope from the main deck, working interiorly within the engines as well. You see Sax and Morna kind of like looking up and just monitoring what's going on as they see you approach, looking battered and bruised and burnt and covered in soot from your adventure. Morna says, they return. All good?
Forge is haunted.
Okay. So, anything useful?
Well, there is a Shade Steel Forge down there.
Oh.
However, there also might be some kind of fuck off giant whatever from thousands of years ago, maybe imprisoned by a god, but maybe put back by some regular dudes, so not really sure whether to roll the dice on that just yet.
Okay. Any risk of it escaping?
Yeah, so one of our potential plans is maybe letting it out.
Well,
Ish.
are we okay to talk here? Sorry, just a second.
You should be alright. What do you mean, let us out?
Well, we don't know. It might be friendly.
Yeah, it might be a decent guy.
Right.
Well,
Mona
I mean,
says,
just in the sense that, like, there's rumor that Fandaren stuck it in there, but Fandaren also stuck a bunch of people down here, so that don't
Also,
mean that
Darren
it's like...
sounds like a dick.
They do seem to not like him that much over here.
Mona says, in my experience, if there's a big tomb or some sort of dungeon with something jailed in there, it's usually best to just leave it be.
Yeah, but in our experience, waking up something ancient and terrifying is sometimes a good thing, like the dragon.
Right. Well, that's your prerogative.
Roll the eyes at you.
She says, well, meanwhile, up here we just making work on repairing the ships. Should be about a week or so until we have some maybe a supply run able to go back to the surface, but we're not going to try and use the whole fleet at once. Hopefully we don't take any more losses. Bit suspicious, I guess, of just things that are nearby.
What's the plan from here then? Is the plan to stick it out here, build up a camp, and
Well, it'll be good to leave at least a garrison here. If that forge becomes in hand, it comes in handy. It might actually be a really good place for us to get some of the things we need to fix the ships up. Maybe upgrade them as well. That being said, ultimately our goal is to just defeat Narsimel. So anything that we can do that can help us do that will come in handy.
We do have another lead that might help us get the forge back in working order, or at least free up the one guy that actually knows how to use it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Not sure
Okay.
which thing to pursue at this point. Because obviously, if we can just pull that thing up and kick its head in.
Oh, hang on. Let me just also put on the map. Let's say that Kazenki put on the map where Kulakan's vault is for you. If you
Okay.
Cool.
you
Oh,
did
cool.
want to
Oh, okay. It's not too bad.
I cannot see anything.
If you just click on the gloom again, happened to me as well.
Also, the Tree of Doom as well. We could deal with that.
If we just chop the tree down
Mona.
instead.
Oh yeah, actually, Mona's going to put some more things on your map. So some scouts came back and reported that there is a garrison here. Seems to be manned on the other side of the river by those kind of weird shield face soldiers. And then there is also a town down here called, which, speaking to the other members of the Gloom folk, this is a town called Myra's Gate, and that's ruled by Clan Eolix, which Phalar and Hagen sort of nod and say, "Yep, that's where our parents are." Nyx is going to put on the map where she thinks the wardens are. All right.
And just to remind me, the wardens are.
So there are. So when Nyx was Queen Vanya and was in control of the Gloom, she defeated Vesh along with the help of 3 spirits that are similar to Vesh, who are called wardens. So when you and Cyan went over to the Gloom, there was one that had the Shard of Vesh in it, and then you've helped that one out, and it gave Nyx her memories back. So Nyx now knows that there's a warden nearby.
I do think helping out those wardens is going to be very helpful.
And then there's another warden over here.
Wait, hold on. Oh, there's one over there, one on the top right,
And then there's one over here as well.
one on the left. So I can only see 2. Am I being blind?
No, there's 3. One on the right, one on the top over here, and then one on the left.
Yeah.
Is one of those the one that we already helped, or?
No, the one you already helped was south of the Tree of Doom.
Oh, so there's 4. So there were 4 plus Vesh.
Oh yeah, sorry, 4 plus Vesh. Yeah.
Which one didn't we have? Was it a big toad? I can't remember.
No, it was like a squirrel, I think, or something. Or maybe it was like a deer, actually. Yeah, I think it was like a deer spirit. It looked like. I just remember the antlers. I need to go back to my notes though.
Thinking back, did the appearance of the spirit look at all similar to like what was going on with like the Onikuma, or was that just something entirely different?
Oh no, that was different.
Right,
Yeah,
okay.
the Onikuma was like a sort of a creature that was in the overworld, not really to do with the Gloom.
Right.
That was what the Azera were like tracking. It was like a kind of mythical beast.
Gotcha.
All right. You see the rising tower on the map, don't you? Oh yeah, and then also at some point Hagen is going to point and say, "This is where Vesh's prison is." Up here. Okay.
Okay.
So it's north of Novalis.
Hmm.
So it's balls in your court. You can choose where you want to go.
I personally would think wardens are a good shot. We should probably think about what we're doing here first. But I think, wardens are a solid idea. Very powerful. If they're at all similar to Vesh, they could maybe help us out if, we had to follow that plan.
They
Jump down
also,
once.
I just recall that they also helped us escape before, so if it was worst case and we needed to return, we could do that. I mean, it sounds like we could do it through this place, but yes, I agree. I think the warden would be a reasonable suggestion. It might also give us some suggestions and ideas about how to deal with other problems that are endemic to this land, like the Tree of Doom, maybe.
They might also know something about what is under the forge.
Yes, it is worth an ask. Perhaps then we head, and Cascas kind of points off down the mountain, I suppose, far away to the one to the east. And maybe we go maybe to the warden first and then back to Kulakan's vault. I do wonder whether or not we should go to Mira's Gate, but I do not know if there is a benefit at this point.
There might be spies there. An urban center like that would attract a lot of attention for people like Nartamal, I would imagine. Especially with non-Gloom residents just walking around the streets.
That sounds sensible.
I think if we go anywhere near that, we would need very solid disguises.
I am slightly worried about the amount of hexweave juice these elves have. They might start drinking the blood of the locals if we're not careful.
Yeah.
It's a lot of juice.
So if there is a way we could find any Galibist hearts that might be useful, I do not know if they are. They are not native to this land, that I know. But if there is a way, maybe we could ask the warden to see if they have any thoughts. I do not know.
I'm still not over elves being vampires. I'm sorry. It's just messing with me.
The what? Sorry.
The elves being vampires. This does make me think. This is more of like a selfish thought, but these people probably have histories relating back to, around the days when the elves lost their magic, days of when my people's city was around. Maybe it's worth checking like a town or something on the side, maybe like a library, see if they've got something. Obviously, we don't have to. It's just, something that came to my mind.
In Myra's Gate.
Possibly. Or maybe when this is all done, there's a library in the big city where Narsimel is.
Nick says, yeah, there'll be an archives there for sure. And from what I've heard from our House Yorlik's friends, they seem to still have plenty of non mind controlled minions as well. So we should be able to disguise ourselves if we ever wanted to scout out Novalis. We might be able to disguise ourselves in there as visitors from another clan or something.
Perhaps. My disguising it's very easy for me, but the rest of you, I think Hanera could pass with a little bit of work, but the rest of you, and Cyan just looks at Calcifer.
Yeah, all right. Hank.
Yeah, exactly. I don't see many dogs around.
Yeah, alright. So, what's the first thing you want to do? Just get some rest?
I would say so, yeah.
Get some rest and maybe try and fix my armor up. Get the I think you mentioned I could get the runes over to another set of shade steel.
Yeah, I'll allow that, that's fine. Yeah, you can just do that in an evening.
Cool.
Alright, so finding somewhere to sort of set up camp within the base, seeing all the orcs and the gnomes after a hard day's work set themselves down by small little fires, flanked by the mountains, the mountain ridge around you. You can see down in the distance the dark forest ahead, where spiders seem to have completely dominated the tree lines, and the spiders' webs can be seen glistening in the kind of eerie moonlight without a moon. You get some good sleep, first time in a little while after being on the road. You hear obviously people telling kind of stories around the fire, just chilling out. Anything that you specifically want to do during the night? Or you can just go to the next day if you want.
No.
Zion wants to have
A what?
Oh, sorry. I think I was having a little bit of lag. Zion would like a small chat with Nix, but
Okay.
sorry, I don't know if I was interrupting people.
No, that's
I was
fine.
having a
Sorry, I
weird
did.
Discord thing, leaving.
That's okay. Oh yeah. So I also have some information. If you want to ask Nix anything about the wardens or anything, I've got that stuff now. Go ahead. Nix sort of is just looking in the distance, looking at her old home after so long away.
Well, there's some good here. Your people aren't entirely converted.
No, but I feel that Narsimel has a lot more involvement in people's morality and decision making than it should do. He seems to have dominated everyone around him, whether or not they know it, including our Clan Aeolix friends.
Well, have you thought about throwing your own hat into the...
Well, as in letting them know who I am.
It's dangerous, but I can't help but think that it might help now and then, but it's up to you.
If that knowledge was to come out and Narsimel was to find out, he would throw everything he possibly could at destroying us. It's probably best we keep it down low for now.
Okay.
If rumors travel quickly in these parts, and if Clan Aeolix, if they even tell one person out of line, it goes straight to Narsimel. And I'm still not sure I trust Hagen.
I don't. Did you hear anything about that brass order while you were around?
If they were around when I was ruling, they did many things that I disagreed with. They would regularly disappear people, extrajudicial questioning, so to speak.
Sound like
I-
bastards.
I tried to stop it, but there are forces. If you ever rule anything, you'll come to know this. There are forces that do whatever they want. And I didn't have the force of will to stop them. And now it seems that Narsimel, at the very least, thinks he's getting something out of them.
Maybe these wardens can help.
She nods. I think so. Every warden we free will be more power that we can use. Remember, it took 4 of them to defeat Vesh, including me. By the time we go, if we do decide to go with Hagen to Vesh's prison, we will need as many of the wardens on our side as we can get.
Agreed. And to be fair, it took just one to restore you.
It didn't restore me fully.
No.
Just my memories.
No. Is there anything about these wardens you think we should know going in, or
Um, let's have a look. We freed Malera already. The 3 left are Terrian, Dinax, and Leal.
can I have those in the chat, please?
Yeah. The one that's nearest to us is Terrian.
And what's he like? Dode or
The wardens were always mysterious. They left the affairs of the elvish people to their own, and we left them to their own. They would look over the gloom, the wilds, and the nature, and make sure everything ran in order. And we would keep to our own affairs. So although I have teamed up with them in the past, there is still a lot about them that I do not understand.
there's nothing that Tarion seemed to hold close to as specific values? Is Tyrion more of a violent one, a peaceful one?
It's hard to describe. They are. I think the closest way to describe them would be as if they are Fae. They do not seem to have the same desires or instincts as people from the material realm. Whatever this realm was when it was created or found by Fendarin, one thing is clear: the wardens either came with it or were here already. And we can see in the evidence of how this place has turned out in just the 20 or so years I've been gone, that the wardens have lost power, lost control.
Do I remember what the state of? Sorry, it's just like I know I'm not there. What was the state of the warden that we met previously? Was it kind of? I seem to recall it was kind of like bound by gloom energy.
Yeah, it was sort of a being of light, and the only way to describe it is the same light that seems to just apparently be in the gloom, like the sourceless light almost. So like obviously there's no sun and no moon in the gloom, or at least there wasn't when you were there. There was like a sort of a glow that almost everything had. That was like a sort of a half dusk kind of appearance. So they seem to be like a concentrated, brighter form of that, whatever that is. That's the best way to describe it. But their power and their energy is obviously entwined with the power of the gloom. Like, the gloom, they're effectively the nature spirits of the gloom. So, like, while Adana has a shad and has so and so and whatever, as their nature, sort of elemental spirits, the gloom has like a sort of parallel one. So it's hard to tell exactly what they're made of or what they stand for.
Okay.
But at the very least, Milira gave Nyx her memories back and was warning you that like Vesh's power is rising. So, and if it rises enough, Vesh might awaken just on his own anyway.
Okay.
Yeah. So Nyx says the gloom was always one of those places with more mysteries than answers. And when I was ruling it, I did my best, but we didn't have a large population, and most of them wanted to live out their days doing their own thing, you know?
And have more babies.
The immortal elves, they... when we were in the Age of Gods, we couldn't have children except for the blessing, by the blessing of Fandaren, or, you know, his spokespeople. So it was Fandaren who controlled our population. And when we came here, we just simply did not have the know-how for a long time of how such things worked. But as time went on, and we had more and more people from the overworld appearing here, having been killed, so-and-so quote, with their shadesteel blades, there were the non-immortal elves who occasionally procreated with our kin. And that's how the later ones sort of came about.
This does spur my curiosity. You're from a time barely any of us can... Well, no one else can remember besides a certain dickhead in a sword. Were my people around when you were there? Or is that a later thing?
The Age of Gods was strange because even though we were part of Adana and part of Erd in general, we lived often separated from nature. We lived in these large floating cities, and whilst we knew there were creatures below, we were told to stay away because they were still under the forces of the elemental gods. So certain creatures I'm not sure entirely about the Azera, whether they were created by Fandaren during the war against the later wars, you know, the later wars against the Titans, or whether they were there originally. I can't tell you that for sure.
Okay.
I for one never met an Azera when I was there. So.
It was worth an ask. Anyway, we should probably think about getting some sleep.
Seconded.
You going
Right.
to be okay?
Oh, well, always. And she turns into a pillow and then starts snoring. Anyone else want to do anything? All right, we'll go to the next day then. All right, so you wake up in the dawn of the dawn, quote, when it should be dawn, of the 37th day of summer. The sky and the air doesn't seem much different to when you fell asleep. And at first, as you rub your eyes, it's quite hard to tell how long you slept for. But a handy gnome nearby with a timepiece lets you know.
They just like sit there all night, just like sat there with a big clock. Just
I am the timekeeper.
And morning.
I am the yeah.
Yeah, he's just got like a mechanical rooster which wakes everyone up.
No.
He has a time. Yeah.
Shannon has threatened on at least 5 separate occasions to murder the rooster.
Yeah, there's almost an orc mutiny over it every day. Back in the Grey Mountains, we don't have to deal with this shit.
5 more minutes.
But quite quickly, it's more that people want to get to work, so they get up and they, have a quick wash in the various buckets of conjured water from the couple of gnomes who have devices that can do such a thing. The water quickly becomes brown and disgusting and sooty from just like dust being kicked up during the night that have got onto people's faces. But as you get up, people begin to get back to work, maintaining the ships, finishing off the rest of the camp. You now see that the exterior of the camp, a large palisade and a moat, sort of like a ditch, has been dug. Just as some like preliminary defenses. You overhear a couple, like an orc and a gnome, saying to each other, like, "What if they send over flying creatures?" Which is like most of what we've seen. And the orc's like, "Ugh, it's better than nothing."
I'll shoot it.
But yeah, your day is yours. You can do what you want with it.
Right. So, need to make the obvious decision. Do we head back down there and fight that thing? Probably, if we pull it up. Or do we just go get this this construct from Kulakan's vault? It will add on a bit of time to our expedition.
There will be other things in Kulakan's vault, Nick says. Most likely, I assume.
But it does involve going there, coming back, rather than just presumably heading on to one of the wardens, like we
Yeah, I
probably
don't
would do,
feel like
right?
we should steal from him either.
I mean, it sounds like he's dead, so I don't think he's gonna care.
No, but he left all his stuff to the other guy, right?
Yeah, and he's asking us to get it.
Right.
There could also be lots of other interesting things in there. Could help the people here. It could help our understanding of the situation more broadly.
Also, like, stealing things is 90% of what I do.
Yeah, kind of weird for you to be.
When did you last steal something?
Okay, fair point. It's a lot. I don't get a lot of time to steal, but it's what I used to do. It's what I am.
You are also like a millionaire now, so kind of hard to justify.
It's fun.
Is it really stealing? Like, Nick says, Kazenki's been down there for 1,000 years. I think he's learned to live without that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think
Yeah,
I think that inheritance tax should be like 100% anyway. So
Oh god.
Mona says, so said like a truish Marley.
Our city is going to be having that rule in place, is it?
we'll have to discuss.
Casca's thinking, maybe I should join Narcival.
Yeah.
At least Naruzatar's not going to ask for inheritance tax.
There.
I am thinking we're working with far too little information. We don't know what's down there, and I think these wardens are going to be the closest thing to any form of information as to what it is. I think we should look to the wardens before we make a proper decision.
I agree.
Sorry. Proper decision on
The
that
big
thing.
potential monster thing under the forge.
Right.
But if they were around when it was imprisoned, then, well, they probably know what it is.
Right. So, preliminary plan. Obviously, what we learn on the way might change it. We go get this construct and, maybe see if there's anything else that might help us along the way in that vault. Bring that back here. If we got somewhere traversing quick, that'll be good. Maybe we can ask Sax if he's got like a mini ground blimp or something, I don't know. And yeah, bring that back here, get the forge running. Then, while we're out getting these wardens back online, presumably they've also got these shards stuck in them. Then, by the time we're back, these orcs are going to be fully armed with, I don't know, shade steel bullets or something.
Oh, that'd be great.
Do you make your gun out of shade steel or just the bullets, or
I think
both?
it would be the bullets.
Right.
That would be handy.
I am curious, though. The last vault we went to had a lot of traps.
It did go well though.
It did go well, but we knew what was in there beforehand. Maybe we should ask Kazanki about what's in the vault, if there's like a key we need that he's forgotten to tell us about.
Oh yeah, it'd be pretty embarrassing if we went over there, broke in, spent ages, nearly died, and then came back and he was like, "Mate, I had a key." It's literally in my name. It's like has a key. It's like it's almost there,
Yeah.
Kaz has a key.
Kaz has a key.
That's his name, right? It's been a long day.
I think you were too focused on the blacksmithing technique to actually pay attention to his name.
I was too focused on my armor getting fucking melted by that elemental. I'm just glad I didn't send Ank in there.
I guess you could call it an elemental.
I'm going to leave now.
So we have agreed, I think, the plan, and just to double check, I'm being a bit silly today. We are going to the warden first, yes, and then back down to Kazensky. Not Kazensky's. Kulakan's vault.
That sounds cool. I can.
I mean, the way I see it, looking at the map, this vault's on the way.
Yes, but if we have to bring the construct back, it would be easier if we did that after going to the warden.
But then, I mean, we'd probably go from that warden to the next, no?
Well, we would go up to here and come back. We'd have to come all the way back out and back again. It would be a wasted journey. This way, we only have to move the golem 28 miles rather than another 50 miles.
Well, I was thinking we go, go to the vault, then come back, then we go out. It is a bit awkward.
It is a bit awkward.
But
either
way,
and it saves a bit of time.
So the issue there though is we go out to the first warden, and let's say we go to the first warden, and then on the way back we grab this automaton thing, wherever it is. We're now back here, and we want to get to the next warden, right?
I mean, we're gonna have to go. We're gonna have to come back regardless.
With the automaton.
But if we go to the vault, back, and then to this warden, then we're in a better position to head on to the next. That is assuming that we would go to this warden, then to this warden, then like around here to this warden.
See, I was more thinking we would be coming back after each warden and, having some idea as to the directions we're going in the camp, like sending recon squads around. We've got warriors here, scouts even.
So you reckon more time total, but shorter excursions?
Safe, but more time equals safer, less time equals less safe. It depends on what we value here. Do we value speed or do we value intelligence?
Let's not be so. Let us just do one option. I think it is okay.
Okay, so it sounds like for now we go to this warden and then hit up the vault on the way back?
I would say so.
After seeing Kazenki, obviously.
Of course.
Yeah, we need to check in with him in case there's things he's forgotten.
Though you say carrying this thing back. If it's a construct, it can walk and everything.
Okay. Well, it can walk, but
Well,
we do not know how much a battery it has, or energy, or whatever.
Can't we just put it in the bag
True.
of holding?
maybe. Depends how big it is, how heavy it is.
Yeah, it could be a fucking massive one.
Yeah, I mean, if thing's made of like solid granite and it's 8'6" or whatever, then
Why don't we just do
Oof.
this, and we will see what happens. I'm sure it'll be fine.
Yeah.
We can
We
always...
could ask Kazenki what the construct looks like as well before we head off.
yeah.
All right. Let's take a break for 15 minutes.
Cool.
All right.
Probably a good time.
See
we'll be
you
back
in a bit.
in a-
Russian constructs.
So come at 25 to Hello, welcome back. So just before the break, the party were deciding what they want to do next, and have decided. I guess you want to head over to check out Terrian and what's going on there. First, you wanted to go see Kazinki again, I guess.
Yep.
All right. So heading back down to the forge, making your way into Kazenki's forge. You see him still tirelessly at work, just sort of making chains, repairing them.
All right, mate.
Well, welcome back. Have you decided what you want to do then?
Yeah. So we're going out for a bit, but we're going to be coming back by that vault and try and get that construct friend of yours.
Okay.
Do you have any information for us about this vault? How to open it? You got a key under there? Or...
Well, it's been 1,000 years, so unfortunately my memory is not too fresh on these things.
Right.
But if you follow the directions I laid out on the map, it should be quite easy to see. It was built in a kind of overground quarry that was you should be able to see it. It used to be inside a small town. I'm not sure whether that town is still there or if it's gone now. So, just follow the instructions. You should see it quite easily. It's a large covered vault.
Right. For getting in.
Things out. Oh, for getting in. Well, I'm not sure who's made their home there since me. So, in terms of like what was there before, standard magical traps and security measures.
Right. Basically, figure it out ourselves.
Unfortunately, I can't help you with that much. Again, I inherited it, and then very quickly I was sent over here. So.
You remember there being any traps or security in there?
Well, there was a security team that was paid by Kulakan to protect it, but obviously since then, I'm not sure. I put my business in the affairs of Clan Eolex, so.
Could we get
Don't
you
know,
to?
like-
Could we get you to maybe like sign something just so that if that security team is somehow still there, we can just be like, we're here on behalf of.
Yeah,
Kazenki.
if they are still there, they'll be there on behalf of Narsamel, I presume. So it's probably best not to talk to them.
Probably
Alright.
best to just stab him. Right?
Well, yeah. And again, I'm not entirely sure what's going to be left down there if anyone's gotten in over time. But constructs are cheap and plentiful.
So, you're not sure if there's going to be like spikes coming out of the walls, poison gas, anything like that?
Oh, right. Well, there might be all of those, or none. I can't remember. Unfortunately.
Great.
Well, that's it. Just hold our breath every time we're about to proceed down a new hallway.
Yeah, but then that's when it turns out that the thing that causes the poison gas is just the first step you take after you finally let the air back in.
Or Henning, Nick says.
Nice.
So, Kazenki says, well, yes, unfortunately, that's as much help as I can be. But I bid you farewell. I hope your journey goes well. Stay away from any prying eyes. Don't be followed either. If that vault somehow is untouched, they'll have many riches there that might come in handy.
So we have blanket acceptance to just take things.
Oh, indeed. It was never anything sentimental to me, and if what has happened to this society since I've been gone is true, then it's not going to help me much. Not until Narsamel's killed. So, go ahead.
Do you know of anything else useful within the vault that might help?
Kulakan was mostly a weaponsmith for Clan Orlix, so I presume there'll be weapons there and armor and the like. But other than that, it's his prerogative. Whatever he deemed worthy to store there. He wouldn't store anything of not of value. It will all be useful in some way or another.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Well, yes. Farewell,
All right. See ya.
and I hope to see you soon.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So as you make your way back out the forge, back onto the over top, Morna approaches with Sax and says, "We heard that you're planning on going on a mission."
Yeah. Yeah, reading out.
All right. Well, and Sax says, "Well, if you want anything useful, if you happen to carry things back, I have something that might come in handy.
All right.
Behold!" And he takes out like what seems to be like a small little spinning top in his hand, and says, "This is my clockwork carrying device." And he kind of spins it in the air, and in a flash of a moment, it turns into a sort of levitating sphere. Not sphere, sorry, like a disc, and that hovers just about a foot off the ground. It's probably about 5 foot in diameter, 2.5 foot in radius. And he says, "This will carry extremely heavy things, up to a maximum of, but not including, 1,000 bulk." All right. So if you need to carry anything, that might be that might need a bit of a push. This should help. But I would recommend that you don't overbalance it. Don't pile things up because it has been known to slide down hills quite quickly.
All right.
So as long as you keep it on a leash or something.
So what's the thing? Just like levitate and follow us, or what?
Oh, you gotta like. There's like a little hole on the front. He just points to like a loop. He says, "So you can put a rope on there or something." It's sort of like a pack mule, but doesn't get tired.
All right. Yeah. Seems pretty handy. Hopefully,
Um,
we find enough shit that we need it.
Yes, and on the event that you come under attack, and he sort of hands you over a little button on a sort of clockwork remote control device. You can press this, and it will self-destruct, creating a large explosion and destroying everything within 30 feet.
Very exact.
All right, so just be aware of that fact.
Clan is just staring at it.
It seems like seems like a weird combination. Put all your nice shit on it, or blow it up.
Well, it was originally designed to host some sort of artillery cannon that could be moved quite quickly. So if you need to quickly run away from your positions and destroy the cannon so they don't get it, it does it both in one.
Huh.
That's where it comes from. Yeah, you do what you want with it. Just don't press that button.
Noted. I meant to ask actually, do you have anything that might be useful for getting over say longer distances quickly?
Well, I would usually refer you to my prized invention that you see above you.
Anything a bit more subtle?
The only other thing I have is an observation balloon, but that will take you above the tree line, and even though it's called an observation balloon, you're also very observable using it. So you can use that if you want, but if it pops, you're falling.
Yeah, probably best avoid that, I reckon.
He nods. Well, that's the best I can do, unfortunately. You can sort of make this levitate a little bit higher or lower if you need to. It goes up to about 10 feet. But any higher than that, and it will just return back to its normal.
Right. How stable is it?
You can ride on it. If you put a chair on there, it should be able to keep you on there quite easily. Unless you're on a particularly uneven surface, like down a hill or something, it should be fairly upright. I wouldn't try and go off a cliff with it, but if you can, it does have a sort of inertial dampening system, so it won't kill you, but it won't be comfortable.
My thought was stick a couple of bedrolls on it, we could maybe just keep walking. Take it in shifts to sleep.
Okay, but some people move around a lot in their sleep. Well,
Well, don't.
Yeah, it's 5 feet in diameter, so
Oh,
it
right, so
will be a
maybe
bit of a
one.
squeeze. You could probably fit someone curled up on there,
Yeah.
but it's mostly like, it's got enough space for one person to kind of stand on it,
Okay.
or you pile an equivalent amount of stuff on top of there, you know,
Mm-hmm.
or like a mortar or something.
Cool.
All right, so
we forgot to ask
God.
Kazenki what the construct looked like.
I can recognize a construct probably.
I'm more concerned about like storage problems.
Well, sorted, right?
Yeah, it wouldn't be like a huge mining golem or something. It'd be like a
Right.
probably, I assume, just a sort of medium-sized construct of some sort that could help in a forge. That would be my guess. So Mona says, so now that you've got that, you're heading to. Where are you heading to? First?
Arian, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Where is the warden? Yeah, I'm Tarron.
Right. Well, good luck on that. I'm not entirely sure how useful that will be, but I hope it goes well. Just to let you know that we have spotted some movement in those woods, so I'd keep very stealthy whilst you're moving there. Don't try and draw too much attention to yourselves.
Mm-hmm.
I am just about to head out myself, so we had reports of a scout party going missing. I'm just gonna go check it out.
Well, if we find any evidence of what is going on, we will let you know.
Indeed. Have you got a way of contacting us?
No, but we have the things on us. Well, the communication things, right? We could give them one.
She just takes out of her pocket a sending stone.
Very cool. Okay.
If you need anything, just contact us on there. If we've got any groups near you, we'll try and send them your position.
And if anything happens here, please let us know. Bad developments. that type of thing.
Yes, we'll do. Hopefully we'll be able to get the ships done soon. All right.
Can I just quickly just double check fate? Like, we don't have to do it, but like that the elves have enough of the hex gate. Hex weave like juice to like not start getting a bit.
Oh yeah, you
We gave them a thing, so I'm just checking like that. That
yeah,
will
you
last.
filled out. That'll last them a while. Yeah.
Fine.
Might last them a year or something. Who knows?
Oh great.
Okay, so what's next? Oh yeah, as you're sort of beginning to walk through the camp as well, you see Hagen talking to a number of the elves, and Phalar kind of watching in the distance. As you sort of walk up next to Phalar and both start watching Hagen, Hagen's like, and this is why we must go to Vesh's prison, because we have to use him against Narsimel. And sort of Phalar sort of whispers to you and says, he has to keep the same cover as he had before, unfortunately.
Keep an eye on him.
She says, that being said, he still intends to go to Vesh. You understand that, right?
Yeah. I know he's your brother, and I mean this in the nicest possible way, but I'm curious as to if what he said in the mine wasn't just him trying to get us on the side.
I don't believe that he would betray me. Not like that.
Maybe he doesn't see it as a betrayal.
I don't know.
But I don't know. I don't know where this is going to wind up. But if we end up busting, if we end up busting down Vesh's door and kicking his head in, we should be there. So if you can just
Agreed, for sure.
if you can just make sure that that mission doesn't go ahead prematurely, I'd be grateful.
I understand that, but if what he said about giving Narsimel false information was true, which I assume it is, Narsimel's going to be expecting him to do his job at some point. He won't be able to hold off forever, you know?
No, but we are getting help, and there's no way we can sort out the Vesh situation without it.
I agree. I'll keep an eye on him. I'll whip him in line, it's fine.
Good.
Well, best of luck on your journeys. Have you got everything that you need to bring with you, or like prepared everything?
I think so.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
All right. So, you want to get on the road, or do you want to stay here for a bit longer? It's probably about midday at this point.
Yeah,
I think
I think we should go.
Yeah, just head off ASAP.
All right. Did you want to go to Kulakan's Vault on the way? Just check it out. Did you want to?
We
Because
can-
you're
we
gonna.
can kind of-
It's
yeah,
basically in the middle, right? So you could
Yeah,
always
well,
just go.
We were thinking of just maybe we could have a look, just see it and just make sure, like, nothing's, just have a nosy around the entrance bit, I guess.
All right. So remember the hexes. So you can. So when you get in the forest, I'd say you'd move half speed. Assuming you're trying to stay relatively stealthy, and also just the natural barriers and stuff.
We're eating out 5 a day on the road.
But it's down to you. If you want to try and move faster, just let me know, and then we can take that into account. All right. So the first half of the day's travel, can someone will get me? It'll get you to the entrance of the forest, basically. The first half day.
Who's the best at rolling?
Be a survival check. So
Might be Hank.
yeah, Hank can't read a map, unfortunately.
Sure? But I have the train animal feet.
They just trained him to go. I think we're lost.
Make a sniff map.
Yeah, like his survival for tracking would be really good if you're tracking someone. But if you're just trying to make your way through a forest and stay relatively to a direction, unfortunately, that's probably not going to be the right person for the job. He can aid for sure.
Okay. He will do that then.
Okay, who wants to do the survival check?
Calcifer has plus 13.
You volunteered.
Hanera has 17.
Any of you, it doesn't matter. Who does it?
Joanne, are you there? You're muted on Discord.
Yeah, I'm here. I was just. What do you want?
Okay.
Do you want to roll a survival check just to, if you want to lead the party? Otherwise, Calcifer can do it. It's no problem. Cool. 30 is a crit on the aid as well, isn't it?
If it's the standard DC 15.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay. All right. So first half of your day. Did I say it's a hex is an hour of travel? Right? Was it? Or was it 2 hours? What did I say before? Yeah, it's about an hour. All right. 1, 2, 3. So that's 3, 6, 9 hours of travel. So the first half of your day, you make your way down the kind of rocky side of the cliffs from the forward base, down the old roads which had been built here from whatever settlements had once existed here. making your way closer and closer to that darkened forest in which you came across before and traveled through. As you sort of begin to approach the dense line of wood in front of you, again, the top's lined by thick rows of spiders' webs. The imposing nature of it is a bit scary. Can everyone make a a fortitude saving throw? Just you sort of innately feel in your stomach this sort of well of dread, just even seeing it. Okay, you all seem to be fine. All right. So as you begin to step into the forest, can someone make me a D100 roll, please?
Sure. $95.
95.
Yeah.
All right. So you begin to travel single file into the woodland, and you travel for maybe 10 minutes before you hear footsteps behind you. And just immediately wheeling around, you see Isolde, and you see Cadell. What's his name?
Vasiri?
Vasiri. There we go. My notes were being funny. You see Vasiri and Isolde sort of camping out in the trees.
Feel like shit. Just want Cadell back.
Just sort of like leaning over a small fire, just keeping a watch out in the woods. And Vasiri sort of nods at you. Heading into the forest, I see.
Yeah, didn't get enough chance of getting eaten by spiders last time, so fancied a bit more.
Very good indeed.
Does it look like the camp is like been here a long time?
No, it seems like just a sort of forward supply post for rangers in the forest.
Okay.
So like you've sort of travelled the sort of familiar route to go down this way that that has been laid out in your map. And there's a small little like sort of outpost just set up here with maybe a couple of orcs in the distance. You see also like a small little hut that's been sort of repurposed with some stuff in it. But Vasiri and Isolde are sat there. Isolde seems a bit glum, but she looks up at you and says, "Where are you headed?"
We're going out to do some jobs.
You doing okay?
Yeah, fine. She says, "We've been waiting for a group of rangers who haven't come back for 2 days now."
How many?
There were 15 of them, I think. We were just we volunteered to sit out here until we get any sign that they might have come back, any survivors or people injured or anything, but so far nothing. Not heard from them either.
That's no good. We'll keep an eye out.
This is the way they went, so if you find anything, let us know.
Bless you.
Oh, thanks. I didn't know.
Is Vasiri like earshot or is he far away?
He's just sat next to Isolde.
Okay.
Vasiri says, "So you're going east? Interesting.
Why?
Oh, couldn't be wondering if you're tracking that warden, perhaps."
What's it to you?
Our goals are aligned on this. I wish to see that warden freed so he can defeat Narsimel as you do.
Was that Mike making a Freudian slip or Vasiri?
That was just me.
Okay.
He says, if you need any assistance, I'd be glad to offer it.
to the party?
I'm not sure. I kind of eye him suspiciously.
Yeah, Cyan's kind of against the idea.
I wouldn't ask for much, just a moment of its time.
You see, the thing is, you have not given us much reason to how do I say,
Trust you?
to trust you. It is odd, this new adjustment we are going through.
In fairness, neither to distrust, really.
No, we just do not. We just would like to understand more, you know?
Well, I promise you, if you let me come with you, I'll tell you everything you want to know about me, my past. No secrets.
Including what you want a moment of its time for?
Make a diplomacy check. Someone can aid if they want as well.
That's fine. He's alright. He's got 32.
No.
He says, yeah, Nero just says something. He looks at her funny. He says, sure, I'll let you know that as well.
Hmm.
More the merrier, I think.
And what of Isolde? Would you come as well?
She shakes her head. No, this place gives me the creeps already. Being trapped in there. At least I can go back to the camp if I want to.
Cyan's going to try and convey an we're here kind of look. As if to say, like, if something's going bad, we're around, kind of.
She seems a bit glum, but she doesn't necessarily seem in danger.
Yeah, it's more just like if she wanted to chat.
Yeah.
Or something.
She looks over to you and sort of smiles at your warm look, and she says, "We'll catch up when you're back, huh? How about that?"
Sounds good.
Viserys stands up and says, "Well, is it settled then? I'll come with you."
Yeah, go on then.
Picks up his bag. So you didn't get one of those shiny transporter things from Sax, did you?
What, a blimp?
The disc.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he gave us one.
I've got something we could carry.
What, raise an eyebrow?
He goes into the hut that has been sort of like boarded up with defences from the people who've just come here. But it's an old hut that had been there before. Kind of square. Looks like it's made out of maybe some sort of like granite almost. Just almost like there's no bricks in it. It's just almost one big block. That on the inside he points to what seems to be some sort of arcane turret of some sort. Half made, sort of made of shade steel, with a big red gem right on the barrel. He says, if that's what I think it is, it could be pretty handy.
What the fuck?
Did you just find that down here?
It was here, yes, just stashed away. I feel like a little bit of tweaking up. I think I know how it works.
Cyan's eyes just rapidly twitching.
He says, it is quite heavy, but I was going to ask Sax about the use of one of his things, but if you have one, I should be able to carry it. And someone if they want to man it.
This was just in a hut somewhere?
Well, if you ever come across a random hut in the forest, check it out. There might be things in there. Who knows?
What does
Yes!
it look like?
So it's sort of like one big, long-formed piece of silver, shade steel. Sorry. That's sort of made into. It kind of almost looks like a large turkey leg. Where on one side is a kind of like control mechanism, which comprises of two gems that I guess you put your fingers on and sort of like aim it and then fire it. And then on the other end, there's this red pointed gem, almost like if the Eldar what those turrets?
Yeah,
called?
shuriken.
Yeah,
cannon.
it's like that. And it seems to have some sort of stabilizing legs or something that aren't quite connected to it. But Vasiri kind of bends over it and has a little look, and then puts both of his hands on the control gems, and it suddenly whirs to life. The red gem.
Ryan
the
is
other
moving
gem.
out of the way.
And the legs, which are sort of just discarded off to the side of it, begin to sort of almost magnetically get sort of set under it, and it begins to sort of half right itself up. And he says, and it sort of whirs up with like a kind of sound.
And you can see a button, can you?
Vasiri says, if I am intuiting this correctly, I think it's controlled with thought.
Oh, can anybody just meld their brain with it?
If you put your hands on these things and think of firing, I don't want to test it out because, but if we clear some space and get this thing out onto that platform, we could give it a try.
Okay.
I'll get the thing out and
Yeah, he takes his hand off and it goes, and sort of goes back offline. After sort of like it takes two, it's quite heavy, and after like maybe Calcifer and Vasiri sort of like lug it out of the door and set it up on the disc, Vasiri sort of turns to you. Well, he wants to give it a try. How about? And he points over to like a nearby tree. That could be a good target.
Okay.
I think Kaskis is very eager to give this a try.
Well, I do not mind. He kind of says almost
hop
medically
aboard.
modestly.
Yeah, so sort of just like pulling yourself onto the.
I
the
think
disc.
fire.
Just well, you've got to put your hands on first. But yeah, as you put your hands on, and then you think like destroy that tree, it just goes and just starts firing like really really fast beams of energy, almost like it reminds you of magic missiles. But instead of being targeted, it just is like a straight line, and it immediately recoils and just shears the tree in half. Make a dexterity a reflex saving throw to try and right yourself.
24.
Okay, so you sort of like half stumble almost off the disc and sort of put a foot down on the ground, but you manage to make sure it doesn't start spinning around in circles or something. But the second you take one of your hands off, it immediately powers down. So it's not necessarily something that if it was to just go nuts, like you still have to have your hands on it. But it's powerful. Like it seems to, it seems to be quite a scary item.
That's
Wonder
just like
if-
maniacally laughs on the floor while he's like falling over.
Next looks at it and sort of says in your ears, I have never seen anything like that in my life.
Me neither.
If
What
you
do
were
you
to
mean you've
set it
never
up, if you were to set it up on the edge of the disc, would the disc spin?
That's a bad idea.
But we could have a
That's a
code word, right?
terrible
Let's
idea.
say it hovers like 2 feet above the ground. We yell goose. Everyone goes to the floor,
Jesus
and
fucking
Operation Sit and Spin.
Gosh.
If someone could hold on, yeah, like you'd have to literally be holding on by your fingertips as it's spinning round and round, firing everywhere.
We
But
have an
it-
adhesive of some description.
It could be done theoretically.
Now, Nix, you say you've never seen anything like this before.
No.
You didn't see Tarron-Ar messing with shit like this?
Yeah, maybe in the Age of Gods, but there was never anything that we had access to. This thing, why would anyone leave it here? Why would anyone leave it in a hut? It's either part of some armed group that stashed it here, or it was forgotten about. But
Science gonna have a look in the hut.
I think maybe they left in a hurry.
yeah, make a what is it? Just do a perception check for me, just to root around the hut, see if there's anything else in there.
Very odd that, yeah.
36.
There doesn't seem to be much else in here. There's just like a bunch of like old scrap boxes that are long, what they call decayed, and so that sort of just almost crumble like cardboard, like wet cardboard in your hands as you sort of scurry through it. But you do notice on the walls as you look around that there is like gashes in the walls, almost as if some sort of very sharp blade had once cut into the wall, maybe during a fight.
Oh, a long time ago.
Yeah, a long time ago. Like there's no blood on the walls or anything. Just layers of dust. But you know, as you sort of like begin to inspect them, you do notice that there's some sign that there was some sort of fight, like someone maybe with a mace was like flinging it around and hit the wall a few times, and then someone with a sword also, maybe a shade steel sword, had gashed a bit of a hole in the wall. But otherwise, like this building is quite strange, but it's not unlike many of the buildings that you've come across in the gloom. This kind of like almost singularly formed structure, made of a very hard rock of some sort.
You know, I hate to say it. Who else have we known to come to the gloom with potent mage allies?
You're saying this is the banking guild's work?
Potentially, or someone else connected to Null.
What about you? He points at his saying.
Me? If I had this, I could have taken over a lot of places, let me tell you.
A few of these
maybe
hooked
you're
up to
curious.
the blimps, skyships.
Oh god.
Be a formidable
well.
force.
Yes, and if they were used against the skyships, it would be disastrous as well. So he says.
Yeah, so these aren't too commonplace.
But this doesn't seem like gloom technology. I've seen, you know, I've travelled my share of the gloom and gone into its ancient vaults, and this seems like something that might have been brought here. Maybe as part of an incursion. I think the theory that it could be the banking guild might be right.
But why would they do that?
Perhaps they wish to parley with Narsamel and prepare themselves as if it went wrong.
If maybe it was part of their attempts to try and maybe they were trying to control, take down some experiment, something. Maybe Tybalt Kaidas did that.
Or it could be the banking guild having weapons to deal with Kaidas.
Maybe. No, that's what I mean. Like, what if like they brought the turret here, and Kaidas cut the gash in the wall?
Yeah. Perhaps.
Well, and all well and good thinking about what it was, but what are we going to do with it? Take it with us?
I mean, we're not just gonna leave it lying around.
No, but we could potentially send it back to Mona.
We could.
If Sax could replicate it.
I worry that giving this powerful stuff to the world, whether or not it is a good or bad idea.
I'm cautious. That
mean-
something like this could really just up an arms race. That's not always a good thing.
Well, it also depends on what this gem is, how accessible it is. It doesn't seem like a tile stone, this area says.
Hello.
Hello?
What does it look like?
It's like a red gem. It could be a gully beast gemstone.
These gully beasts, man. They're having a good time.
Gully Beast tarts are just so powerful. They're in everything.
Well, I wonder if the banking guild have come across this before, because if if they brought it here, presumably they made it. Maybe. And if they made it, then they would have potentially been able to do it, before.
I was under the assumption that no one could make shade steel, Viserys. The
Well,
Blacksmith Guild tried, but failed many times.
Either way, I'm unsure if replicating something like this is a good idea.
But
I would much rather
Mm.
destroy it.
I suppose the thought that I was trying to say was that actually, well, the world already has this. Perhaps the banking guild might already have these designs, or maybe not. Maybe whoever put it here managed to get it away before they did it. But I don't know. I do not know what to think.
Mm.
Well, what's the decision? We're taking it with us, or are we going to leave it here? We'll bring it on the way back.
I think we take it with us and we think on the way about whether or not what we should do next with it. It could be
Yeah, we don't
useful.
want to lose an all day just lugging this thing back.
Yeah. Also, if the fucking big monster fucker turns out to be evil, it could be helpful to just take it down.
Perhaps. Well, all right. It's on the disc, so we'll just make our way through the forest then, yeah?
Mhm.
All right. So I guess leashing a little bit of rope to someone. Does anyone want to like man it whilst you're moving along? Like,
If no one else wants to do it, if somebody else wants to do it, that's fine.
Could we give it to someone with like high perception, maybe?
yeah.
They can keep scanning for like potential enemies.
Maybe you don't want some Ogre, so you're like trigger happy.
A squirrel.
Yeah, exactly. I got plus 17. What's the other one else got?
Yeah, I guess if you've got a low perception, the only thing is you're going to notice are huge things. That are probably quite scary.
My perception's plus 23.
You want to do it?
Sure.
All right, so you get onto the turret and whir it up. And just as you begin to make your way through the tree line, Cyan on the Overwatch behind you. Yeah, you've got a lot of power in your hands. And Nick says, use that wisely. It's quite easy to just completely destroy anything and everything around here.
Cyan's just gonna smile at Nyx and say, Nyx, you've been with me my entire life. You know for a fact that I never do anything wisely.
All right, so you're going to make your way further into the forest. So the next half of the day, do you want to go this way or this way? Sorry, this way or this way?
I think further south is probably better.
Yeah, remember there's a garrison here, so the
Mm.
closer you get to it, the more likely you might be to run into some patrols or something.
I mean, we've got a minigun, it's fine.
All right. So towards your first day of traveling, you get a little bit into the forest. The looming kind of gloomy atmosphere of the dead forest around you is quite sickening, really. Like it looks the same in every direction, and the shadows play tricks on you as you walk through it. Still no sign of any spiders. A lot of spiders' webs. You haven't seen any spiders yet, so that's the thing. But even the what was once the undergrowth is now just a bunch of sort of dead and dried sticks and twigs. The topsoil revealed and sort of turning like into kind of dust, really. Even the sort of things underneath seem to be dead. The worms that would and the fungus that would help keep this forest alive. All right. So after your first days of traveling, you find somewhere in the forest relatively decent to camp out. By a little cave. After Viserys sort of goes in and just checks it out for any corners or anything, any hidden tunnels. He comes out and says, "It's going to be be a good place to rest. We could build a fire in there.
All right.
All right, so you begin to settle down. After a little while, you've got some food going. Some of you, either your rations or whatever you brought with you, or some hexweave food from Hinera. Vasiri sits down and says, so I suppose I best stick to my end of the bargain then. You wanted to know things.
Please do.
I suppose I should go from the beginning then.
Oh,
Who's that? Oh, the jungle. Should we continue, Richard?
Sorry, just a sec.
Okay, there's no problem. I'll just continue. I'll continue for a bit. He sits down and says, well, from the top, I guess we'll go to the start. So I was born into the service of a Talite named Tarron-Ar.
What, sorry?
Tarlite.
Tarlite.
People from Tal, so like Fandar, like the Titans or the gods. He says, this is before Tal fell, by the way. This is when it was an empire that spanned the entire known universe, I suppose. Tarron-Ar was a good ruler. He was the governor of my planet and my people, and served me and my people well. And we were born on a small planet named Raktin, which orbited a mass of void energy his people called a black hole. Over time, it became clear as our society progressed and our knowledge of mathematics and planetary science evolved that the chances of long-term survival for my people were incredibly small. There would be a time when another orbiting body would interact with the orbit of our planet, and the drag created from that will throw us both into the black hole, destroying us entirely. So we came into service of Tarron-Ar because his magic was the only thing that could keep that from happening. So we gladly gave up our society to the rule of the Tarlites. He treated us incredibly favorably, and for a very long time our people flourished in our little back corner of the universe. But then one day we saw a flash of light in the sky and a green mass of energy, which covered from horizon to horizon in shining green light. And we could tell that our master, Tarron-Ar, was distraught at the news. He had explained that his homeworld, Tal, had been destroyed, and his link to its magic had been mostly severed. This caused panic amongst my people, and Tarron-Ar explained that he was still powerful enough to keep our planet from falling within the black hole as long as we offered him our services. That came to be known as one of our biggest mistakes. We gave him our souls, and he used our own power to keep us alive, granting us immortality and the ability to change our bodies. But ultimately, we were linked to his desire. Whatever he wanted, we had no choice but to do as he commanded. And as time went on, Tarron-Ar became more and more jealous and bitter. He saw us less as his charge and more as his burden. He demanded more and more of us, and we couldn't deny him anything. For one rash decision, and our entire people would be destroyed because of it. Well, one day that rash decision came, and it was on my behalf. I made a mistake, a stupid, petty thing, and snapped at his response. I could see in his eyes that he had already decided to kill me, but then a flash of inspiration came to him. His entire posture changed, and he smiled. I was taken aback. At that point, I was so used to cruelty from him, but it seemed like he wanted to help. He told me not to worry, and that all was forgiven. I didn't trust him, but I was glad to see the evening. Well, that evening it started out so well. Me and my life mate, our children, enjoying a meal together beneath the stars. But it was my eldest who noticed it first, that the void, the black hole, was getting larger and larger. The stars themselves were stretching around it, and before long they all culminated in a tiny pinprick before they vanished entirely. The entire night sky was black, and we could hear the panic of the entire city, the entire of our people, beginning to grow louder and louder. So then came the visions and the power. The sheer power of the void went into each of us and killed my people. But without the release of death, I had been transported away from such a thing. I woke up in the service of a demon, or another Tarlite that had been long corrupted. I'm not sure how long later. By the name of what's his name? God, just literally just skipped my mind.
Armistice, was it? Or was it someone else?
Ashigal.
Ashigal.
I was released into the service of Ashigal. Tarron-Ar clearly had had enough of me, and to punish me, he had killed my entire people and vanished. Then I was in another demon's service, my soul tied to him, and no matter if I ran, if I died, I would reappear in his service. There's nothing I could do. I was his. He looks down and says, "Then it all changed one day, when another one of Ashigal's creatures found a way out, found a method of escaping Ashigal and escaping his vision and his all-seeing knowledge. And that was to come to a place named Erd. You see, Erd has a powerful magic, don't know how to describe it, barrier around it. Those creatures that are not originally from Erd have no power over it. They are just as mortal there as they are anywhere else, and can be killed all the same. Ashigal would never step into such a place. And from his spot in Rada Alora, where I had called my home for many times, I followed this companion of Ashigal's out. And his name was Scrimshaw, Morna's companion. When Scrimshaw escaped, he escaped with his brother, another construct named Tail. They escaped to their creator's tower, and after a confrontation, this was before I escaped, before I discovered how they did it, there was a confrontation with their master there, which left Scrimshaw broken, turned off, whatever you call it, and Tail missing. The master as well. I was the one who awakened Scrimshaw. I was the one who wanted to do my little bit to thank him for leading me out. And even though we came to blows many times after that, that was when I first became free. That was under Pietro. Because all I had known was war and destruction and death, that is what I thought the humans, the mortals of Erd would respect. And that is how I gained my power, by being brutal. But once I realized that there were groups that would stand against it and were destined to win if they unified, well, let's say it took me too long to realize that. I was defeated by Scrimshaw and his group, and I was thrust back into Ashigal's service. But Ashigal, like Tarron-Ar before him, decided to punish me for escaping. But then, after just a small amount of time, this group, the Clive Five, returned and they freed me. They told me that I could help them defeat Ashigal once and for all. And in truth, I wanted to. But in reality, when it came to climb those steps and deal with Ashigal himself, I buckled, and I fled. And I've regretted it ever since. I ended up coming here and meeting Isolde, and I changed my life. And as Cadell, I thought I had turned a new leaf. So, that's pretty much everything.
You
So
say.
that- Hmm.
Sorry, you go.
I was just going to ask you, so there's only ever been Pietro. Mind blank. Who's the one?
Pietro, Cadell,
Yeah, Cadell and
and
Viseri.
he says, no, I've had countless lifetimes. Into the service of Tarron-Ar, we had this power. If one of us died, we would be reformed into another. And even under Ashigal, I was not Pietro. Pietro was the creation that he liked the most. The cruel, callous, heartless, vindictive, Machiavellian Pietro.
Do you have a core you?
Say that again, you broke up a little bit.
Do you have a core you?
There are things that carry over. My memories, my justifications. But for the most part, the core me is the people I'm around. The people who imprint on me first.
Viseri has an impression of the people around you at the time you changed.
Well, is it so surprising? The Lavari were hungry for conquest. They were slave owners. They were merchants. They would sell their mother for a slice of bread. Was it so surprising that they decided to vote me into power? As Pietro? That I could use those craven, unjust instincts of theirs to lead them astray?
So, to understand Viseri, we have to understand the people you were around when you became him. Partly.
Well, what I am saying is that I am still in that process.
I see.
My personality is not formed until things happen. I am an open book. So you might not trust me, but I am trying to be better. I am trying to not do the same mistakes I've made in the past.
Dell said previously that he wanted change. Pietro clearly wanted conquest or some form of personal glory.
He wanted power. He wanted freedom. He didn't want Ashigal to ever control him ever again.
What do you want?
I want answers. I want to find Tarron-Ar. He will be still out there somewhere. And I want to kill him for what he did to my people.
Reasonable.
That's what I've
And-
always wanted. I've just never had the chance.
Is that what you want to ask the wardens about?
Partially. I know it will take time to get this planet to a place where it can itself travel the galaxy. Find the evidence of the Tarlites who are no longer known, where they've gone. But now that Tal is well and truly dealt with, now that the planet-born dead is not roaming the galaxy, destroying civilizations, it is time that people could truly go out there and explore. There are so many mysteries out there that are left unsolved.
A noble cause. Cascas kind of looks down, slightly troubled by what he heard, maybe more than other people.
So, what? So, Tarron-Ar is partially why you want to speak with the Wardens. What else?
I want to ask them where their power is from. I want to find out what the mystery of this place truly is. Why is it here? Who created it? What link does it have, if anything, with Erd?
So, what I'm getting is you're defined by your curiosity as of right now.
Are we not all defined by our curiosity when we are months old? Days old?
I find it hard to wrap around because you're both months old, but also countless amounts of time old.
There's always more to learn about the universe, my friend.
I need to go. But I
Okay,
will.
no
I
problem.
heard a lot of bits of things that I need to go back and listen through to the episode.
That's
'cause
fine.
That seemed
We'll
quite important.
that's all right. We'll finish off here for today then, because it's only 15 minutes to go.
All right. Cheers for the game.
Just end the stream. Let's
Yeah.
see you later.
Yeah, see you in a bit.
Thanks for playing, everyone.
Thanks, Max. Thanks all.
Very well.